I've been trying to get into beverages of all types, all shapes and sizes. Well, okay, I guess beverages don't have any shape or size; they are liquid, but all types, you know. As a child, I was really into milk, and I still am. But milk is like the thing I've always been into. I always drink milk, with every meal, pretty much. Very few things I don't think go best with milk, you know. Then when I was 16, I got into water. Didn't like water before, but one time when I was 16, I got sick, and I felt better every time I drank water, but then I stopped being sick and found out that water still makes you feel better, so I did that. And then, when I was a little bit older, I started getting into tea, because I often have a sore throat or an upset stomach, partly because I think I have, like, acid reflux, I think, because my dad has it, so I probably have some of that. But green tea cures sore throat, and herbal tea, peppermint tea, sets your stomach. So I just have herbal tea after like every meal. So I'm a big time tea guy. You know, then I turned 21. I got into drinking a little bit. Then didn't really have anyone to drink with though. But since moving here, I now have lots of people to drink with. So I've gotten quite into that. Really gotten into white wine specifically. So easy to drink. It feels all tasty. And then I get to have fun time, yeah. And and I've also kind of been into juice my whole life as well, you know, but sometimes I'll buy myself some juice, and then I'll have that. So it's like, okay, you know, I drink water all the time. I always have a cup of water with me. I drink milk with every meal. I drink tea after every meal, and then sometimes just for the hell of it. I drink alcohol sometimes. Sometimes I just have a beer with me to get a little bit buzzed, you know, to focus my focus a bit. And then, you know, like, I'll have the occasional cup of juice. And I'm like, sweet, I'm into so many beverages. Now, one beverage I avoid is soda, just because, like, you know, I'm not a fan of the way it tastes. I've never really been into it. It just feels gross and just feels like way too much sugar for me. And then, of course, everyone says sodas are really unhealthy. So I'm like, okay, I will avoid it. I love soda. It gives me an opportunity to feel so superior to normal civilization, being like, oh, that thing that everyone says is bad for you, I don't even want it. I'm just naturally amazing. Although it sucks being at a restaurant, because, you know, most of the time, the only thing you can get is soda or sweet tea. I wish restaurants would serve milk. That'd be great. So yeah, I'm avoiding soda and energy drinks. But then there's still one other beverage to get into, which is coffee. Now, growing up, I'd assumed that coffee probably hurts your health or like slowly kills you or something. Because, I mean, if it gives you more energy, it must be taking away from your life force, right? But CGP Grey has that whole video about how caffeine supposedly doesn't have any negative side effects at all. So I'm like, oh, guess I'll get into coffee at some point. So, you know, like a year or two ago, occasionally I drink a cup, and I just didn't really seem to have that much of an effect on me. So I would drink like one cup every day, but then as the days went on, I just got more and more delirious. Not more energetic, just weird. Like 4 days of coffee in a row, by the end of it, I was just like running around being like, where am I? Who am I? I felt like someone could just come up and stab me right through the chest, and I'd be like, you are stabbing me. I understand. You have attacked me. What is happening? Like, I just felt like numb to life itself. So that was starting to be scary, so I held it off. But, you know, nowadays, I really just want to work super fast. I want to make videos super fast. I'm super romantically into this idea of, like, sitting down and cranking some project out in one session, right? And I'm like, I can rarely do that without getting tired, at least at some point, so coffee keeps sounding attractive to me. So I tried coffee the other day, and at some point I started cataloging a timeline of how the day went. So I will now read you the timeline. Okay, so I wake up, I believe at some point, I'm not quite sure on exactly the time, but I woke up at some point, and Digi had a video ready for me to edit. Like, he had recorded the audio for it, and he had linked me the script. So that's my cue to start making it. But, you know, I'll wait a couple hours before I get to it. So first, I, you know, do some C++ tutorials again. You know, I'm still into coding and stuff. And then I make a 6-page list on a notebook listing off all of the must-play video games that I haven't played yet. So I do that, It takes me like 2 hours to write that down because I had adapted it from a text document that I'd already made, but I wanted to get it on a notebook and tighten it up some. So yeah, that took me 2 hours. Then I spent like 2 hours like watching like let's plays and summaries of some video games, just to like, I was just curious about it. So that was another 2 hours. Then I recorded a vlog about how many things I want to do with my time, with my life. I actually recorded that vlog twice, so that was basically like a full hour I spent on that vlog. Then I sat down to get the Log Horizon video ready. Before I can even make a video like that, I first have to convert all the files and stuff to make it ready. Because when you download anime, it usually is an MKV file, but you need to have an MP4, so you gotta process that. So I started that processing. Then I spent like an hour or two like doing other stuff, uploading the video, the vlog. Then I sat down to start making the Log Horizon video, and I got myself a cup of coffee. I drank 500 milliliters of it like immediately, or 2 cups, right? So yeah, just this tall stein filled with coffee. I drank the whole thing over the course of like probably 20 minutes. And I started very quickly feeling like total shit. I felt like all sickly and gross and nihilistic as hell. And I started editing the video, and it wasn't even feeling right. It felt like it was straight up making me not good at art. It made me feel like I didn't even know what good clips were in existence. I just felt like I'd lost my touch even. So I went away, I went into my room and started talking to a squiggle. I have a squiggle now, and I talk to it sometimes, so, started having a conversation, talking about how I feel like shit. And at some point I'm like, alright, better get back to this video, so I started editing it again, kept working at it, feeling weird. Ben comes into the room, and I'm just like, Ben, what are you doing? Hey, I drank coffee. Blah, blah, blah. Just feeling like a huge, weird, grumpy pants who didn't even feel like me anymore. So I'm just like hammering away at the video, being like, why doesn't this work on me? Why doesn't coffee work on me? Why doesn't coffee work? Oh, it's been 10 hours. And then that's when I realized I had just been editing the video for like all night long, non-stop, without even blinking, without even feeling slightly tired. And I'm like, oh. And this is where everything started to come together. Now, toward the end of the video of making it, I started to almost pass out. I started to get totally dead tired. So I'm like, oh, let's see if I can make this video in time. And so I finished the video at 4:40 p.m. I'm able to calculate this because I can look at the file dates, the dates of files, and I had made the video in about 11 hours straight. And I'm like, yeah, sweet, it's a 10-minute video made in 11 hours. That's pretty fast. I was really satisfied with that. And at this point, I somehow attained a second wind. I was no longer tired. So I'm like, oh. So I go back into my room, I talk to my squiggle some more, have this huge dramatic conversation. Then I start singing a bunch of songs to the squiggle. Like, I just play a bunch of music that I like, but music where I've never actually looked up the lyrics and I can't entirely sing along. So I learned some lyrics to some songs I like, and I'm like, yeah, super satisfying. It's something I always want to do, but I never take the time to do it. So then I go and wash some dishes in the kitchen, and I make some food for myself. Then me and Digi watch a movie together that we're planning on doing a video about, and it's a 3-hour movie, and over the course of it, I almost pass out like a bunch of times. But then, at some point, I somehow attain a third wind. And the video ends, the movie ends, and it's 10 p.m. now, so I've been awake for well over 24 hours at this point. I go into my room again, have a third intense dramatic conversation with Squiggle, like 3 conversations in one waking cycle of mine. Then I talked to Digi about the movie some, and we kind of are like, you know what, let's not make a video about this movie. We changed our minds, but we talked about other video project ideas. And then I start washing more dishes at around 12:50 a.m. for 70 straight minutes. So over the course of the next hour and 10 minutes, I finish washing all of the dishes. And at this point, I'm like, how long have I been awake? So I go over and I look at all the dates and the times of all the stuff on my computer, and I wrote out the whole list of sequence of events that I've been reading to you so far, and that took me like 30 minutes. So at this point, I'm like, okay, the power of this coffee so exponentially outweighs that initial burst of anxious spiraling grumpiness that I have to drink coffee way more often. And this was on only one cup. This was only one stein, a 500 milliliter stein of coffee, approximately. I'm like, I still have so much energy. I'm not even tired yet. So then I go and I do my laundry. Then I make some more food. Then I relax for like 3 minutes, just laying on my bed, and crushing tiredness sweeps over me. So then I stand up and decide to brush my teeth, and then suddenly the tiredness goes away, and I'm like, huh. So then I shower, shave, I dry myself off, and I rest for 15 minutes. So at this point, it's 4:10 a.m. I basically just rest just so I can dry myself off more. I don't know. I can't even remember exactly. So it's 4:10 a.m. I do the rest of the laundry. So I've cleaned so many things. I've cleaned all my clothes, all my friggin' sheets, and all the towels that everyone uses. And I put away all of the dishes too. I put away all the dishes once they're all dried off. And it was the first time since living here that all the dishes in my room, in the house, have been clean at this house. So it was an incredible moment. And at this point, I'm wondering, I actually don't think I will become a coffee drinker, because I don't think I ever need to drink coffee again. I think that one cup was all I needed. I've broken my sleeping mechanic. I've achieved the broken brilliance. I'll never have to sleep again. Holy shit, this is the greatest thing. Then I start organizing my room, because, my room was a mess. Halfway through, I start feeling bad I start feeling all down, crying for no reason. I guess just because I've been awake for so long, I've become a weird bitch. So Squiggle comforts me. I get back on the horse and I finish organizing my room. And then I finish organizing my room at 8:40 a.m. So it's like, yeah, I'm moving slowly here. I am doing things slowly because I've been awake for so long and I've become a weird, fragile person. But still, I was awake for about 44 hours. So just under 2 straight days of being awake. And it was this incredible moment of time. And, yeah, so that's interesting. I did fall asleep though, and I guess I'm probably just gonna be randomly falling asleep all week. Anyway, I'm gonna try and talk softly here. Hippo is asleep in my room on a inflatable mattress 6 feet away from my microphone. All the radcon guys are out there talking, probably shouting, screaming, laughing. Don't know how much you guys can hear that. If you can, I'm sure it's totally ruining the mood of this series, but Hippo being asleep there is forcing me to talk softly, so hopefully that increases it. Or maybe makes it totally creepy. I don't know. So yeah, still doing the programming stuff, still having a great time with that. So cool. I have made a couple of C++ programs, mostly just stupid text things. I'll put a link to them in the description so you can download them. If you use Windows, they're simple EXEs. It's just me to train myself in learning programming stuff, but I think I made a couple of funny little pieces of text. And as I learn more and more about programming, I immediately am taking the experience and knowledge I'd built up in YouTube analysis to this new field, because there's one important thing that I've learned as an analyst person and a review person is that most people in any given field are not that good at it, even among professionals. Because it's I'm watching video tutorials about programming and lectures on the nature of programming, and I'm starting to get the sense of how many of them are people who aren't really that good at what they do, but they are technically professional. And like even, comments and forum posts around the internet, and there's people who like sound like they really know what they're doing, but maybe they know what they're doing, but what they're doing is garbage. So yeah, that's kind of, it's interesting because obviously I literally don't know shit about it, but I'm already starting to like get a feel for like who the people who I can respect are in this situation. Because with YouTube reviews, I mean 90% of people wouldn't take seriously with their reviews, even if they are making money from it, even if they do have 100,000 subs and stuff. Like all the normal boots hidden block people are people who I would not really go to for any wisdom on how to make videos, or tell anyone to go to and learn from, except for like basic production values and upload schedules and stuff like that. I mean, not counting JonTron, he's obviously a totally different animal from everyone else in that field, but So, like, because the video that I'd mentioned before about programming called Object-Oriented Programming is Bad, I watched that video again, and I watched its sequel videos, which are Object-Oriented Programming is Embarrassing, and Object-Oriented Programming is Garbage. And it's like, man, this guy, Brian Will, is smart, and I respect him deeply. He's so sure-handed and just so subtly, smugly derides other techniques and stuff, but like just so competently and clear-headedly. And I gotta admit, he's really, really convinced me. And I know that I'm probably get a couple comments being like, that are very like sincere and like well-informed, telling me about, like, well, I know he said this and this and this about object-oriented programming, but this, and this. And on one hand, I'm inclined to take you seriously because you know more about coding than me, but on the other hand, I'm not. Like, I have to admit, like, just because you actually are a good programmer, I have to admit, I might not take you seriously. I'm not... By the way, people who've commented before on the last one, I'm not referring to any of you. I don't remember exactly, but I don't know. It's just a weird thing, feeling like I'm already judging people's skill at a field that I have no skill in. Yeah, I'm a pretty bad person. It's funny, becoming successful in life has done simultaneously good and bad things to my moral character, because when I'm a depressed teenager, I'm more inclined to lash out at people and be mad and grumpy, but now I'm not. I don't really have any incentive to be grumpy at people, but I'm so satisfied with my self-image now that I don't care to not be grumpy to people, I'm so satisfied and content with with the cool stuff I get to do all day, that I don't need the approval of people at all. Like, I'm someone who's rarely needed much approval from other people who I don't care about, but that dependency is at an all-time low with me. Like, I really don't give a shit. So, yeah, it's just... I feel like I've been becoming a weird asshole to people. And I don't know, maybe I'll fix that at some point. I'll be like, you know what? I'm gonna stop being an asshole this time. But I don't know. It's strange because, like, I know Digi was saying similar stuff in one of his decompression chambers and stuff, like about he doesn't think of himself as a great person. He just thinks of himself as maybe a strong 5 to a light 6 out of 10 on moral quality. I'd probably rank myself, maybe a light to decent 5, depending on who you are, how I'm treating you specifically. But, like, I feel like, this is gonna be weird, but I'm sure there's a lot of people who are gonna agree, but never really thought that they should say it, which is, I value interesting people more than good people in the world. I mean, obviously, the more good people, the better, but I kind of just don't care. Like, if someone is a great moral person who helps people, I'm like, yes, I appreciate you, but you're not really doing anything to help me, since I don't have cancer, I don't have being a starving African child disease. So, you go off and help them. That's great. Like, at some point, if I ever have, like, if the time is right, maybe I'll do something to help you. I do think you are valuable, but I don't care, because you don't do anything that amuses me. You're off in Africa helping them. I'm over here. You're not doing anything for me, so I don't really care. People who are interesting, educated, and creative, and people who I can respect is something that I want. That I want from people way more. Those are the kind of people who I want to talk to, or understand, or research, or that kind of stuff. Like, all my life, all I've really wanted is just respect from people who I respect. Like, fame is cool and all. People knowing about you is fine, although kind of annoying too. But really, all I've wanted is just to be someone who is mentioned in a retrospective of what was important about the world. Like, this person came along, took influence from these people who came before him, and then these people took influence from him in this way. That's where I want to. That's my goal, man. That's who I want to be. But I guess if you're a more nice person, then you could be more respectable too. That would probably help. I don't know. Maybe I don't know if I'm either underselling or overselling the amount of assholeness I am. Guess that's for other people to judge. Mwamp. Mwamp. That's supposed to be a horn sound, like mwamp, mwamp, mwamp. Sometimes I'll type it in a chat. Like, someone will talk about something that was like derpy, and I'll be like MWAHMP, and they're like, Womp, what does that mean? I'm like, it's a freaking horn, man. When I started doing the programming stuff, I brought a chair back into this room, and I started sitting at a chair. But it started to make my back hurt. After 2 weeks, my back started to die. So I kind of gave up on that. I am sitting on a chair right now, but I'm leaning forward. I'm not leaning back on the chair. That's what kills your back slowly. Yeah. I had mentioned before how I really like the idea of making a video super fast, which is what I did. A 10-minute video in 11 hours. I'm really, really satisfied with that. But it's really because making videos is harder than a lot of other mediums in a way. Where I could sit down and start drawing and just never stop. Or I could sit down and make a video game, or at least try to, and just never stop, When I got into C++, I was like, wow, I can just go at this all day with like no breaks. Or at least very, very few. Whereas with editing video, it just feels like I have the need to get up and do something all the time. Like, I always feel at risk of getting distracted. And it's strange. It feels like my work ethic is entirely different depending on what medium I'm working in. And I've been trying to get to the bottom of that. And I feel like I've made some progress on figuring it out, but... Okay, let's say there's two categories here. One category is sort of a more abstract form of art, which is like you're drawing something that doesn't exist, you're programming a video game, which is entirely a simulation, or you're doing like this more hard media stuff, where it's more high art in a way, where everything you're making is totally purely created by your own hand. Then, on the other side, there's more abstract, there's more remix type of art, which, editing videos is that. You're taking this, show that's been made by someone else and turning it into a different form. You're re-editing it into your own video. And also in this category, I would even put blog writing. Like, even the process of writing a video like that. It's like you're taking the things that have been said in this show and then you're reinterpreting its meaning and its message and making it your own. So even the writing process is very much like a remix of the writing of the thing. And like, even if you're blogging, like say you're just doing journalism, you know, that's also an art form, but you're basically remixing life that way. So those are the two categories, right? And I feel like the first category, the more high art, I'm not saying it's better necessarily, it's just, it's more, I'm just gonna use the word high because it just feels like the right word to use, okay? Don't judge me. No, please judge me. But those mediums, it feels like it takes more of my focus. It takes more of my, it takes all of me, you know? To make something like that, to draw a thing, takes all of my soul. And the whole world around me doesn't matter anymore. Everything goes black around me, and it's just me and my friggin' chisel and my chunk of stone, and I'm making the thing, chiseling away at it until it's done, and nothing can slow me down. Meanwhile, with editing, like, a lot of editing and making videos like that depends on like being culturally aware, you know? That's a medium that's very much about like feeling connected to the life stream of the culture around you, you know? You have to feel the world at all times in order to like be good at it. So I can't phase out the world around me. I become more one with the world around me. And when you're in that state of mind, you just get distracted more easily. Or at least, I say you, but I mean me, okay? Like, yeah, the whole time I've been making videos, it's like, you have to take breaks. You have to hang out on the internet in order to, like, be in the right mental state to be able to make a video like that. And I don't know why that is. Because back when I was making that RPG, I could just shut myself off from the world completely and never lose my touch, or at least I felt that way, you know? So it's a weird thing like that. And that's why it's harder for me to stay focused when editing videos. Hopefully coffee will be my life hack to win the world. I will destroy everything with my new don't need sleep power up. You know, I've always said I like the idea of sleep, and I do find sleep very satisfying. I just wish I didn't have to do nearly as much of it as I do. If it could be, you go to sleep once every 2 to 3 days for 3 to 5 hours, that'd be ideal. Now, I don't know if that's medically possible, but if it were, that would be my favorite. Well, that's everything I had to say. I think it's been like a week since the last episode of this show, so how about I just release it now? You know, it's only 30 minutes, but that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah. By the way, I'm gonna change the titling system for this show. Originally, I named the first episode like January or whatever, you know, gave it the date, and then Nate came out with his solo podcast and also gave it a date. And Digi was like, actually, I was thinking you guys should just not have dates because that just gets confusing. We can't have too many shows that are named after a date. That just gets confusing. And I'm like, I don't really know why, but okay, I might as well. So I think I'm just going to name these episodes, like give them a title named after what I'm talking about. I'm not sure. I don't know what I'm going to do about that, but oh, yeah. Anyway, I got copyright detected on the song I'm using on the last episode, but that may just be because I played 2 straight minutes of the song with no talking over it. So I'm gonna find out if I'm still gonna get copyright detected, even if I don't do the fade out. So yeah, unfortunately, this video is not going to end with 2 straight minutes of just music, even though I really like that concept. So, goodbye.